Okay.
It's
Okay, thank you.
it's not letting me. Can you hear me?
All right. Julian, can you please give us an update from the subcommittee?
It's not letting me
Yes,
unmute.
the subcommittee did meet in December.
Yeah.
Okay, let me
The primary discussion, or the largest discussion, was around the Board of Ed's health insurance plans and the possibility of shifting over to the state partnership. Just as background, the city transitioned all of its active employees in January of 2020, and the remaining group, which consists of the Board of Ed active employees and all retiree groups, were
If I can find the number, I'll dial it.
basically still an open.
I can do it, okay.
Sometimes it's not progress.
I'll dial it too, I'm sorry. Let me find his email.
I gotta leave.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center.
If you're the meeting organizer, press star now.
You are now joining the meeting. Please wait for the leader to admit you to the meeting. You are now joining the meeting.
To have an impact on the.
This meeting is being recorded and/or transcribed.
This is
You've
being
been
done to
muted.
determine whether or
To
not
unmute yourself, press
there would be
star
a
6.
significant increase in the renewal rates if the remaining self-insured group consisted just of retirees.
You are no longer muted.
Expected to be completed in time for review at the January subcommittee meeting. The remaining retiree group is those who are insured through the Zenith plan. Those are the over 65 Medicare retirees who receive currently are on a Medicare supplemental plan, and that's going to require another analysis to determine whether they could be moved to the partnership plan and whether or not that would yield any savings. So that is moving along. The plan is for the Board of Ed to make a determination on whether and which groups to transition over effective July 1st. And the plan is to have that decision finalized by the end of February. That would allow for enough time to actually implement the transition. So that was the majority of the discussion at the subcommittee meeting. We also had the routine updates on the ADP project and the FY19 audit findings. We also had an update on the FY 2020 audit, and I'll let Frank update you on that. And that's it for
Got cut off. You were telling.
the subcommittee update.
Thank you, Julian. Yeah, there's some good news to be shared today, but I will allow the town, the city, to bring us up to date on that. Frank or Mayor, are you?
Good morning, Kim. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I have.
Good
Thank you.
morning, Kim.
Good morning, Kim.
Again, Michael Malone
good
is
morning,
with us. Michael Malone is with us. The mayor is here. We were unable to
Thank
unmute
you.
ourselves on the through the system, so
Permanent.
we had to redial in.
Thank you.
You got censored.
Apologies
sorry.
for that. So, yes, very good news. For the first time in more than a decade, West Haven has a successful audit on time. Very pleased about that. You know, my thanks to the entire finance team who were responsible for actually pulling this together. You know, good news.
I just want to.
Yep, and the mayor was.
Kudos, Frank.
Yes.
Kudos, Frank, to you and your team, and I am clapping for you and all of you, so that, you know, that I know that this is a heavy lift.
Thank
Kim, you want to know? Yes, and thank you. And Frank's being modest. He definitely was leading the show, so he did a great job, and I'm very pleased. As I said, because unfortunately we were new to this firm this year, and I don't know what changed gears, but they did want me to sign an extension, and this was in November, actually right after Thanksgiving weekend, and I did refuse because I was concerned that if we signed an extension, we were going to end up, not getting it done. And so we kept pushing, and we started meeting. I wanted to meet then weekly. Sometimes we talked a couple of times a week. Frank talked to them a lot also, and Frank was on the meetings. I was there. We had the partner on and the manager. So we did pull it together. I'm very pleased. This was a goal that I've had ever since I sat on the city council. and we don't have the exact date, but I do want to find out because I know it's over a decade. But I'm curious on how long it was that was the last time we had an audit on time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for your hard work, especially in a year that you changed auditors, so that's really kudos. We will look for an update at the subcommittee on January the 26th, and can you make sure that your audit firm is aware of the subcommittee and be able to present that? Before we get there, though, it would be very helpful if you could share the report, any finding report or management letters with myself and Julian so that we're prepared ahead of time for that meeting.
I will definitely forward all of that to you, and I'll send a note to the auditors.
Thank you.
So before we actually jump into the financials, I'll just give a quick update on, I spoke to Julian yesterday. We were notified by Bill Lindsay, who is our bond advisor, that Hilltop Security closed the Connecticut office and laid off the staff there. We were not notified by Hilltop. We have still not been notified by Hilltop. So kind of concerning as we have a ban that's coming due in April, and of course the budget process is underway. So we will manage through that. I don't know how many other municipalities are impacted by that, but it came as quite a shock to me yesterday when I talked to Bill.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the first I was hearing of this.
Yeah, so it's we'll work through it. As I said, Hilltop has not reached out to us to advise us as to who will be interacting with West Haven from now on, but as soon as we know, we'll be able to move forward. Okay, so for the financial report through November, you can see that we are in line with the prior year with revenues. Taxes are coming in right on line with the prior year, which is very good to see. Through 3 months, tax collection is at 53% of the estimated annual amount compared to a 5-year average of 53.04%. So again, kind of right in line. I had a conversation with the tax collector manager last week. January is looking good for revenues coming in. I would expect to see a bump at the end of the month. Typically, she's telling me that the escrow payments normally wait until the end of the grace period, which is the 30 days. The city of West Haven opted for the low interest option for the second half of the year through the governor's edict, as opposed to offering an extension. So we are expecting the tax revenues to come in. Should there be an issue, we do always have the tax lien sale process that we have used for the past several years to try to recoup any revenue shortfalls there. I'm not seeing any significant revenue issues. As you can see, I did make some adjustments to line items. I am projecting based on 5 months. What I normally do to do the projections out is to take a 3-year average of where we are at any given month compared to where the year end will land. And from what I'm seeing, the licenses and permits, specifically the building and construction permits, will be down compared to budget. the building department is trying to push through a backlog of what they have. So I'm hoping as the months roll on, that algorithm will level itself out, and we will be able to revise that to a higher number. But at this point, I'm advising caution that that number will come in lower. One number that I have not changed here yet, but I am going to have to take a look at, is the revenues that come in from investments. I mean, we made a small adjustment, but obviously with the rates where they are now, we're not going to get anywhere near the return on the money sitting in the stiff accounts that we've seen in the past. So I'll have to do an analysis on that, and I will get back to you to let you know where we will land with that. From an expenditure side, as well, we are in line with prior year. You can see that for the city side, we are currently at about 41% of where I'm projecting us to land. This number, based on the percentages, the year-end projection suggests that it's conservative. In the past 3 years, at this point, we were somewhere between 46 and 48%. I do know that there are some bills, large bills for the telephones and some other utilities that are lagging. So hopefully once I see the December numbers, we'll be able to kind of tighten up the forecast there. We're using, we are going to see some savings in the debt service. That was known. The original budget was put together with the debt service, the bonding happening much earlier than we did. So we were projecting a much higher, to the extent of maybe $250,000 higher than we should actually see this year. So we've got a little bit of cushion there. That number is reflected, I believe, in the analysis that I sent you. It would be on, I think, page 6 of the package for West Haven's finances. We're seeing some savings in the payroll area, some delays or open positions that have yet to be filled. That is being offset by overtime to actually provide the services. Particularly in the police department and public works, we're seeing some heavy overtime. I know on the public works side, a lot of that had to do with COVID related. So there is funding available to offset that, and we have those funds. Those were drawn down. Mike DeMassa was able to draw those down for us. So we're in the process of trying to quantify exactly how much of those expenses are COVID related. I did not get an update from the Board of Education, so at this point we're showing a no change to budget. I don't know, Matt, are you on the line? Do you know of any changes? No.
That's what I was going to ask.
I don't think he's on.
Okay.
So okay. So I know the request was sent. It didn't come back. I will follow up with him once the December numbers are out. They should know with 6 months kind of which line items are going to be moving around on them. So at the end of the year, what we're projecting now is in the general fund a slight surplus to budget. Again, assuming that we're going to be able to make up or collect all of the taxes that we had in the budget through either actual collections or the lien process. As far as the sewer fund goes, same story as the city. We're seeing in line with prior year for revenue collections. The expenses as well are much lower of the annual amount than in prior years, so I'm trying to do an analysis on that to see if what is causing that, if there are delays in processing bills, or if the year-end projection that they put it through the budget is actually more conservative than it needs to be. So, changing the forecast for the sewer fund to be a slight surplus as well, less than 100,000, but at this point, going forward, we should be able to refine that as we get solid numbers. From Allentown, again, the same story. Revenues are well in line with the prior year. There is an anomalous number. As you know, we received a pilot fund monies that were secured by Representative DeMassa. It was $960,000. That is an anomaly over prior years, which is why the actual revenues are up. Those revenues have been tagged for additional contributions to the pension fund, as well as a small amount, $250,000, for capital requirements. Those expenses are reflected in the analysis as well. So it would look like, if we have no overruns in the Allentown expenses, the actual state grant was $60,000 higher than what was in the budget. The city council has already approved that if those funds are not needed to cover an operational shortfall, the full $60,000 will be added to an additional contribution to the pension fund to help reduce that liability. So at the end of the year, right now, we're projecting a surplus of roughly $50,000 for Allentown Fire.
Thank you, Frank, for your detailed description and having your arms around all of this. Good job. I do wish that the Board of Ed was here to comment and give us some updates on theirs, as their operating budget is half of your entire city's budget, and we should have an update from them. So I have a comment, but it's not related to the finances. So I'm going to ask the members if they have any other any comments concerning the financials for November.
This is Tom Hamilton. I just had a question, clarification. Frank sure is probably aware of this, or can fill us in. But the 900 account unallocated expense, you've got 2.1 million budgeted. You spent 150. You're expecting to spend the full amount, actually to run over by 95,000. Can you give us a little more insight into what that is?
Isn't that the contingency fund?
Those are the contingency expenses, yes. So at this point, I would assume that, we would spend all of the contingency. As we get closer to the year, those numbers should solidify. And the 95,000 was, yes, we put that number in to offset some of the overruns up in the salary line. Again, trying to figure out where we're going to land. Most of that is the contingency, though.
Right. I was just trying to figure out if you've already got in your, well, I'm not sure if you do, but in your overtime lines, if you're already reflecting, you had mentioned that overtime, it looks like you're showing an overrun on overtime, and you said it was, I think there were some vacancies and other things. So I'm just wondering whether, is there potentially more favorable upside here when you get closer to the end of the year, or do you think that unallocated, the contingency, is essentially all really spoken for at this point?
No, I think there will be upside. The models that I use to do the forecast are by department, by line item. So as the actual payroll comes through for the month, the remainder of the year is recalculated based on using the expected monthly payroll. We use what's in the budget, assuming that they hire everyone. So each month, any favorability to payroll will fall to the bottom line.
Okay, so it sounds like you may have some upside
Yes.
there, and I
Yes.
don't know whether, do you have any unsettled labor contracts as well or not?
We have two that I believe are still in negotiation, 1103, which is the management union, and water pollution, I think, is still open.
I'm not even sure what Lee was saying.
Okay,
Now, one thing, sir, is that also within that contingency area, that is where we have set up an account to capture any COVID-related expenditures that are non-labor. So all PPE and some other things. So that number will grow compared to budget, but it should be offset by, you will see a line item in the 6-month number for the monies that were available for COVID relief.
okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Because normally you would have, yes, Bob?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback, I was just gonna piggyback off of the contingency line. So normally, Frank, you would have seen that you would have normally held the projection to the budget of the unallocated and allow the city then to, because we know that that was an action of the city council, I would have thought that we would have kept the city having, a favorable, but you've loaded other expenses in there to include the COVID line.
That's correct.
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay. Yes, Bob.
Okay, quick question. This is not on the monthly, but do you have any idea if the revaluation is coming in, within the ballpark of your estimate?
I absolutely do. I spoke with the assessor this morning. Preliminary numbers that we got were 2.6 billion for the grand list. She's telling me that there are 715 properties that are appealing. So if I assume that all 715 win the appeal and the revaluation goes to zero for those properties, it would be approximately a $28 million reduction to her number. So it would leave us somewhere around 2.56 billion for the grand list. The 5-year plan had us at 2.42. So that's roughly a 5 to 6% increase over the original plan assumptions.
Hooray!
Yeah.
Very good.
2022 is going to look good.
Now, of course,
one other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
One other question is, we've talked before about the fire department study, that there was going to be an effort to see if they could get in a position where they could lower the mill rate. And I was just wondering if there was a timetable on when we might see that plan.
For Allentown or for the other departments?
Well, for Allentown, but my recollection was that under the movement to try to consolidate the 3 departments in certain areas, there was a notion that there was going to be a timetable with your consultant, I guess, the consultant to figure out how they might reduce the mill rate to help the town out, because as you go out, the city increases its mill rate. So.
Bob, this is
Maybe I have to wait for the subcommittee, but I was just wondering.
Bob, this is Michael Milone. I could just add a little bit to that. This is separate and apart from the subcommittee, but the mayor initiated a revenue study about a year ago, and it included the Allentown Fire Department. And when we got to the Allentown Fire Department, she reminded me that whatever effect our changes would have on Allentown would also spill over to the other 2 fire districts. So what I've done is, separate from that study, I've been working with the 3 chiefs to see what opportunities there are for some revenue enhancements among the 3 departments. I don't think it's going to have a major impact, but at least we are taking stock of revenues, when they last changed, some of the contributions from the nonprofits like Yale and UNH and so on. So that is ongoing. Actually, we have a meeting today, but it's got nothing to do with the overall study, which is outside of our purview right now.
So Bob, I'm going to comment on that. When we had our last subcommittee, we had discussed that the next steps were for in this upcoming year to assist the fire departments with trying to get them to move towards a five-year plan, and that was planned for this upcoming year.
Okay. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that was in process. I think that's one of the, there's been an awful lot of progress made here by the city, and congratulations. But I think that's one of the kind of open areas that maybe help. But good, just keep us posted. Thank you.
Well, good. Any other comments or questions from the board members on the financial statements or other topics? Mayor, would you please update us, update the committee on the finance the HR payroll combined position that was vacant and the work that we have done this past month on that?
I'm going to be brief because I do have an appointment in 5 minutes. The HR, the position, the benefits coordinator, the position has been awarded. She will be starting on January the 25th.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're very happy about that as well.
Perfect. So I did assist the city with this particular search, and it came forth with some really good candidates, and I think that the city will be very happy with the finalist. And Mayor, I'm happy that this search is closed for both you and Frank.
We are too.
And Beth, she did a great job in making sure that we got through this. So
Yes.
That's good news.
Okay.
It is. Okay. Let's see. I don't think I have anything else on my
Nothing,
side there.
Okay. Anything else from the members? All right, it looks like that we are done with our update from the City of Hartford, and thank you very much, all of you. And we can then move on to the next agenda item, which is we're done with the City of West Haven. We're ready to move on to the City of Hartford. I looked at my agenda and I said the wrong town. Apologize. Thank you, West Haven.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Do you have 5 minutes?
City of Hartford, please.
You've been muted. To unmute yourself, press *6.
It might be 10 minutes.
Hi, Liz. Good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Julian, would you like to quickly start with a brief update on the subcommittee?
Well, yes, it'll be very brief.
I know.
The subcommittee's
Just started Hartford.
sole topic at the December